Let's decide if the Cycplus mini tyre inflator is going to be your next bike pump. I did a review, or I put this on my Christmas list when I did a few Christmas ideas the other day, and someone dropped a comment, which was this, basically questioning whether they think it's going to be able to inflate tubeless tyres from being absolutely flat. So I actually have two wheels here that have fresh tubeless tyres with some sealant in, a little bit of sealant in. So we're going to see whether it can inflate these. But there is also worth pointing out that obviously you have inflating a tyre and then you have seating a tyre, and they're two different things. So if you run a puncture and you lose air pressure, we're going to see whether this is going to be able to inflate it to, it says it can do 2 tyres up to 100 psi. The second thing to note is that if you're trying to get a tyre to seat properly, that is the harder part, and you might actually end up needing a proper track pump because you need that amount of pressure to get it to seat properly. And what I'm talking about there is when it kind of pops, you put a new tyre onto a wheel, and you have to kind of make sure that the rim of the tyre sits nice and flush on the outside of the rim of the wheel to make a nice sealed barrier so that it's not letting any air out. And that is different to inflating a tyre. First of all, it says it can do 100 psi in 80 seconds, and that's test number 1 from a dead flat tyre. So let's go. It is quite loud, but I am going to A, check how long it takes, and B, we'll just see whether it actually does it. So there we go, blank clock. Start the clock. Right, I'm not sure how long that took. That was about 45, 50 seconds. And it's not at 100 psi, that's for sure. I think if I left it on longer, we'd probably get it up, but there is obviously no pressure meter on the pump. So I'm just going based on feel, but when I seat my tyres, you obviously have to take the pressure up to 100 psi, maybe a little bit over, to get it to seat properly. But if you're out on a ride and you get a flat and you're tubeless, and it does seal itself, and you just need to put some more air in, then yes, 100%, that's going to do it. Because this gets it up to what feels like, I'm 75 kg, I probably run 65 to 70 psi in my 27mm tyres. So that would definitely get me home if I managed to get a flat and the sealant worked. Let's see if it can do a second tyre, because that's what it's meant to be able to do. And we might see whether we can do this one up to a bit higher pressure and go for a bit longer. So once again, reset the timer and go. That was actually got a bit more pressure in it. That was a minute. Did it for 60 seconds, way more pressure, kind of maybe up to like 75, 80 psi. Again, that's just based on just a little thumb check. But we've basically got 2 tyres that were dead flat. I will say the second tyre, doing it for 60 seconds, has way more pressure in the first one. And bear in mind, I haven't had to use this outside at all. But ultimately, this tyre that's good to go. That one is like, if you were down and just pumping up a tyre before a ride because you were flat, then that is a solid, I reckon that's like 80, 85 psi. This one's maybe a little less, 60, 65, based on just being able to get a little bit of play in it. But I'm pretty impressed with that. It's meant to be able to do 2 tyres up to 100 psi on one charge. You can see the size of it, first and foremost, which I think's like really important, because I don't like having, even mini pumps are just quite awkwardly sized. They don't quite fit in a saddlebag. I don't quite like having them in a jersey. So you can see just how small that is and how easy that will be to fit into like the back pocket of a jersey, or maybe you've got like a little bib pocket on the back of your bibs. So in terms of kind of heading out, yes, I mean, it seems to pump up a tyre like very well. The second tyre we did for a minute, I'm really impressed with how much pressure we managed to get into it. I might have to do a second test at another time where I take the tyre off the rim and see whether it can seat a tyre, a tubeless tyre, because that would be a real challenge. But I don't think that's what mini pumps are for. Mini hand pumps, you wouldn't try and seat a tubeless tyre with a mini hand pump. You'd have to use a track pump for the pressure. And same applies with this. This isn't trying to replace a track pump, it's trying to replace a mini hand pump that's out in the field. So 2 thumbs up for me, guys. So, definitely, I think it's priced anything from like 75 to 85 pounds, but I think it does make a really good Christmas gift for anyone, or a gift in general, anyone who is a cyclist, because no cyclist I know likes carrying a pump. And we always have that moment when people have a flat, and a couple of people have CO2 canisters and things like that because they're smaller. But this, again, probably takes up less room than a CO2 canister, or probably takes up less room than 2 CO2 canisters and the nozzle. So for me, that is an absolute win. There you go, guys. I think it's called Cycplus Mini Tyre Inflator. Go and check it out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.